If you're in your 70s or 80s and you're still able to do even just a few of the following things, then you're not just lucky. You are a rare gem in a world that's aging by the day. This video isn't about telling you to live longer. It's about helping you pause and truly appreciate what you still have, things that may seem ordinary, but for many others, they're already out of reach. Walking without needing a hand. Remembering your granddaughter's name, your daughter's birthday, cooking your favorite meal with your own hands, holding a conversation without losing track, laughing, hearing, loving, and above all, still feeling like yourself. Today we'll go through 8 simple yet powerful signs that show you're not just getting older, you're preserving the most precious part of aging: your independence and your dignity. But before we get to that list, I want to tell you a story, a true story, one that might remind you of yourself, of a spouse you once had, or simply of a part of aging you were once afraid to lose. It's the story of Raymond. Raymond, a 78-year-old man living in the suburbs of Burlington, Vermont, never thought much about it. He had been living alone since his wife Eileen passed away from cancer 3 years ago. Eileen was his partner, his light, his warmth through the freezing winters up north. Raymond kept all their routines the same, waking up at 6:30, brewing his morning coffee, wrapping the red scarf Eileen had knitted him for Christmas when they both turned 40. Every morning he set down 2 cups, one for him, one for her. "Good morning, my love," he'd whisper just loud enough for the words to melt into the morning fog beyond the porch. Everything seemed fine, until one morning Raymond bent down to tie his shoes and couldn't stand back up. A sharp pain shot through his lower back and left him dizzy. "Maybe I spent too long mowing the lawn yesterday," he muttered to himself. But deep inside, something fragile had cracked, something he didn't have the words to name. That night he called his son to remind him about their grocery trip. But then he hesitated. He couldn't remember what day it was. The silence on the other end lasted 10 long seconds. And in that pause, Raymond I felt like a true old man. Not because of my gray hair, but because I no longer trusted my own memory. The next morning he made peppermint tea, Eileen's favorite, every evening. But this time he poured boiling water into the cup and forgot to add the tea bag. Raymond just stood there motionless. His hand holding the spoon trembled slightly. There was no peppermint aroma, just the faint scent of hot water. And for the first time, he realized he no longer remembered the taste of the tea tied so deeply to their memories as husband and wife. From that day on, sticky notes began to appear around the house. Little reminders for everything. Put the tea bag in the cup. Turn on the stove before placing the pot. Today is Wednesday. He followed old workout videos on TV. He cooked Eileen's old beef stew recipe, not because he craved it, but because he feared he'd forget the things that once felt normal. One day he walked to the post office and ran into Mrs. Margaret, the elderly neighbor next door. She smiled. "Haven't seen you out in the garden for a while, Raymond," he replied slowly. "I'm trying to hold on to a little bit of spring." That day he came home with a strange feeling, like a sliver of sunlight had slipped through a window that had stayed dark for months. But before it could warm him up, he was hit again, this time by a real fall while watering his plants. He lay there on the ground amid the dirt and the damp grass and couldn't get back up. No one heard. No one came. And Raymond felt smaller than he had ever felt in his life. He had once rowed across the Winooski River during spring melt, built a bookshelf by hand for his wife's bedroom reading corner. And now, he couldn't even rise from the earth. From then on, he stopped answering calls, stopped replying to letters from the retirees group, stopped visiting the local grocery store. He was afraid that people would see how much he had declined. But deeper than that, he was afraid he himself would see he wasn't the same anymore. One afternoon, while reaching for painkillers in a drawer, he accidentally knocked loose an old letter. It was Eileen's handwriting, shaky fading. She had written it while she was still alive, just in case one day you forget how to live. In it she wrote, "If one day you feel like you're not strong enough, remember to me, as long as you still get back up, no matter how slowly, you're still my hero." Raymond sat for hours reading and rereading just that one line. Am I still a hero, he wondered. To the eyes of society, probably not, but to the eyes of a wife who had long since passed, as long as he kept getting back up, he was still himself. The next morning he tried something he had been avoiding for weeks, standing up from his chair without holding on to anything. He clenched his fist, took a deep breath, and slowly lifted himself. His knees cracked, but he was upright. No fall, no helping hand. He stuck a new note on the fridge. I stood up. 7:12 a.m. Then he made another cup of peppermint tea, and this time it had the scent. From that day on, he began trying things again, tidying up the backyard, cooking that beef stew, turning on the heater the right way, and carefully writing down every small thing he managed to do. One afternoon, his granddaughter, little Lily, stopped by. She took a deep breath as she stepped into the kitchen and exclaimed, "Grandpa, is that Grandma Eileen's beef stew?" Raymond smiled. "Does it smell like hers?" "It smells just like when I was 6." Lily hugged him from behind. Raymond froze for a moment. His tears didn't fall, but inside warmth flowed like a winter fire. That night he wrote 3 lines in his journal. "Today I stood up on my own. I made the beef stew. I feel like Eileen is still somewhere near." If you're in your 70s or 80s and you can still stand up from a chair by yourself, remember your grandchild's name, brew a cup of tea you used to love. Please don't think of those as small things. Because what you're holding on to is not just strength, it's dignity. It's memory, it's the pride of being yourself. You're not just living longer, you're living right. And that makes you a rare gem in this everyday world. Coming up, I'll share with you 8 things that might seem small, but if you can still do them after 70, you're not just lucky. You are living proof of what many have lost, growing older without growing weaker, living slower but with full freedom. Let's discover how many of these little gems are still shining in your life. Because not everyone after 70 still walks, steady, remembers clearly, or carries an open heart. Time, whether slow or silent, still washes away many things. A habit that once felt familiar, an ability we once took for granted, and sometimes a piece of who we are. And the saddest part is most people don't realize when they've lost it. Not until the day they need someone to help them up. Not until their hands shake as they try to write their own name and forget the first letter. Not until they sit in an old kitchen and suddenly don't remember what to cook do they realize I'm not myself anymore. But if you're here and you can still do the things I'm about to share, then please know this. You are not ordinary. You're not just surviving. You're holding on to one of the most beautiful and rare pieces of aging control, dignity, you. In the next section, I'll talk about 8 small things. Things that don't require money, don't need a degree, don't ask for strength, but if you can still do even a few of them, you are keeping what millions of older adults quietly long for every day, independence. And if you can still do most of them, then you are one of the few precious gems left in this world. In the next part, I'll share each ability with you. Why it matters, what it says about your health and dignity, and why you should treasure it even if others see it as just normal. And don't forget, if any of this feels like you, please leave a comment. We would love to hear your story because who knows, your story might just help someone else out there stand up again, just like you did. And please remember to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel so next time we release a video, you'll be the first to receive it. Now let's get into the first ability. Ability number 1, walking without a cane. If you're over 70 and you're still able to walk without a cane, a walker or someone holding your arm, you're not just holding onto your legs, you're holding onto freedom. Just imagine, you want to make a cup of tea. You get up and walk to the kitchen. You need to grab the mail. You open the door and step down the 3 wooden steps. You remember something you need for dinner. You slip on your shoes and drive to the store. To others, those things seem normal. But for many older adults, they're a dream. Because when your legs no longer feel steady, your world begins to shrink. Just the chair, just the doorway, just the uncomfortable glance when you need to ask your children for help. Walking independently is one of the clearest signs of overall balance. Your leg muscles are still strong. Your knees haven't fully worn down. Your spine is still flexible. Your nervous system still reacts properly. Your blood is still circulating well to your limbs. It's not just not needing a cane, it's proof that your body's coordination still works in harmony, even at 70, 75, or beyond 80. But more than that, it's a symbol of something deeper. When you can walk, you still have choice. The choice of where to go, who to see, what to do. You don't have to wait for someone to take you. You don't need permission to step off the porch. And that doesn't just make you feel strong, it makes you feel reliable. respected, alive. Raymond once said a simple sentence after he stood up again. I don't need to go far. Just knowing I can is enough to feel alive. If you're still walking every day, even slowly, even one step at a time, see it as one of the greatest gifts time has left you. And if today you do need a hand to stand, but you still want to stand, then know this. The journey back to freedom always begins with one small step. If this ability sounds like you, leave a comment. Are you still walking each day? Where do you go? Just down the block or up a long hill? Coming up next is ability number 2, just as important. If you can still remember names, birthdays, and your daily tasks without sticky notes, you're holding on to one of the rarest treasures of aging your memory. Ability number 2. You still remember names, dates, and daily routines? If you still remember your granddaughter's name, your daughter's birthday, your doctor's appointment, or what day of the week it is, congratulations, you're holding on to a rare jewel of aging independent memory. Do you know what older adults fear the most? Not back pain, not trembling hands, not even having to wear adult diapers. But the moment they can no longer remember the face of someone they love, the day they forget the date their spouse passed away, the morning they can't tell what day or what month it is, or worse, when they no longer know who they are in their own life. Memory isn't just about how much you remember, it's the thread that keeps you connected to the world. When you remember your neighbor's name, you're still connected. When you remember an anniversary with your late spouse, you're still in love. When you remember how to cook that old family meal, you're still rooted. And deeper still, memory is identity. If you remember, you are still you. Raymond once feared his memory was slipping away. One morning he forgot to put the tea bag in the cup. One afternoon he didn't know it was Wednesday. But what made him cry wasn't forgetting the date. It was when he looked at the photo of his wife and took a few seconds to remember her name, Eileen. Just a few seconds, but to him it was the deepest crack of all. Thankfully, memory can be preserved if you practice, if you retell, if you slow down. Every time you revisit an old story, write in a journal or share with your grandchild what life was like when you were young. That's not being forgetful. That's not rambling. That's how you keep your memories from being washed away like stones beneath a river. And if today you still remember how to cook that stew your wife used to love, the song you used to hum on the porch, the story of your first date together, then cherish that. Because you're holding something others now need sticky notes, phone reminders, or loved ones to help recall. Tell us, what do you remember most clearly in your life? Is it a first glance? A last word? An old kitchen? A scarf someone knitted for you? Leave it in the comments. And if you feel like your memory is slipping, don't be afraid. Memory doesn't disappear if you still want to keep it. In the next part, I'll share ability number 3, something many people give up because of fatigue, trembling hands, or forgetfulness. But if you still do it, you're proving you still have strength both in your body and in your spirit. Ability number 3, you can still cook for yourself. You don't need to be a chef. It doesn't need to be fancy. But if you can still step into the kitchen, know what you want to eat, and prepare even a simple meal, then you're doing something millions of older adults have quietly stopped doing. Do you know why cooking is a special ability? Because in one simple act, you show the strength of your body, the clarity of your mind, and the love you still hold for yourself. From remembering what you want to make to walking around the kitchen, choosing ingredients, holding a knife, turning on the stove, waiting patiently, seasoning just right, and cleaning up afterward. Each step calls for physical coordination, mental focus, and a heart that hasn't given up on life. Many people stop cooking after 70. They feel tired. They fear the risk, slips, burns, forgetting the stove. They think anything's fine. I'll just eat whatever. And slowly they start eating out of convenience, instant noodles, dry cookies, pre-cut fruit, and little by little they lose the feeling that they still care for themselves. Raymond stopped cooking for weeks after his fall. Every meal was something quick, microwave meals, crackers, bits of fruit. Not because he was lazy, but because he didn't feel he deserved a proper meal anymore. Until one day he made peppermint tea again and cooked Eileen's beef stew. He wrote in his journal, I didn't cook because I was hungry. I cooked because I wanted to live like I still mattered. And he was right. When you cook for yourself, you're saying, I'm still worth caring for, even if it's just scrambled eggs, a bowl of porridge, or a warm glass of milk. That's a quiet, powerful declaration. I haven't given up. I still choose to live with quality. If you're still able to cook today, be proud. Tell us, what do you like to make? What's your favorite meal? Or is there a dish that reminds you of someone you've loved and lost? Leave a comment because every story you share brings the scent of home back to life. Up next, I'll talk about ability number 4, something that seems purely mental but actually touches the core of your freedom and dignity. Managing your own finances, bills, and spending decisions. Ability number 4, you can still manage your own finances. You still know how much is in your bank account. You remember when to pay the electricity or water bill. You know which insurance plan makes sense, what to spend on, what to save, what to let go. If you're still able to do all of that, you're holding on to something powerful, something many others your age have already lost, the right to make decisions for your own life. Just imagine every bill you pay with your own hands, every transfer you track, every time you review your monthly budget balancing, groceries, medication, savings. That's not just something smart seniors do. It's a sign that your mind is still sharp, aware, and responsible. Because when someone starts getting confused about money, they don't just lose their way. They can be scammed. They might sign the wrong papers. They might hand over everything they've earned without even knowing what's happening. And worst of all, they lose control over their own lives. Raymond used to be very careful. He tracked every expense, even the $3 spent on seeds or the 1.75 for a bag of ginger cookies. But after his fall, the bills began to pile up. One month he was charged late fees for forgetting to renew his car insurance. And he said, I felt like I was slowly slipping out of the driver's seat of my own life. So if you're still keeping a spending journal, still know which card you used, still make choices based on what you can afford. Be proud. You're holding up the pillar of freedom, both financial and emotional. Share with us. Do you have a trick for managing money after 70? Do you still use a notebook, or have you tried online banking? Have you ever taught your grandkids how to save? Tell us, because your story may be a priceless lesson for someone else. Now let's move on to ability number 5, something that might sound simple, but is actually a true test of strength, stability, and the courage to rise after every stumble, standing up from a chair without using your hands. Ability number 5, you can still stand up from a chair without using your hands. Try this right now. Sit on a chair with no armrests. Don't lean back. Don't brace your knees. Now stand using only your legs and core. No hands, no pushing off a table. If you can do this easily, you're showing one of the most powerful signs of independence in older age. You know, many geriatric doctors in the U.S. consider the sight to stand without hands test a gold standard for predicting your risk of falling, your ability to care for yourself, and even how long you may continue living independently. This isn't just about muscle. It's about how well your entire body works together. Strong thighs and core, flexible knees, hips, and spine, a nervous system that responds quickly, and heart and lungs that can support you without dizziness when rising. Raymond used to think, if I can still walk, that's good enough. But one day he tried to stand up to grab a book and couldn't. He pushed with his hands. Second try, still stuck. The third time, he nearly fell backward. That night he wrote in his journal, I thought I was still strong, until I needed to stand and my legs wouldn't listen. So if today you can still rise easily from a wooden chair, a low bed, or the steps of your front porch, don't take it for granted. That's proof your body still listens to you, that you still have control, that you can still move through each day on your own 2 feet. Do you practice standing up and sitting down every day? Have you ever felt yourself growing weaker and worked hard to regain strength? Share your story, because maybe, just maybe, your moment of standing up will inspire someone who's still waiting for a miracle. In the next part, we'll talk about something most people overlook, yet it deeply impacts your ability to stay connected, your joy in life, and even your emotional intelligence. Being able to read without a magnifying glass. Ability number 6, you can still read without a magnifying glass. A quiet morning, you pour a cup of hot tea and sit by the window. You pick up the newspaper and you can still read every line clearly. No magnifier, no squinting. Sounds simple, right? But if you're over 70 and can still read books, review bills, browse a restaurant menu without needing a magnifying lens, you are holding on to something precious that aging often takes far too early, your natural vision. Sight isn't just about clarity. It's the gateway that keeps you in touch with the world. You can still read a message from your grandchild. You can still follow medication instructions. You can still knit men clothes read TV subtitles. You can still read, learn, write poetry, search for answers. That means you haven't stopped. You're still receiving, still curious, still alive. Raymond used to love reading, but when his vision began to fade, he slowly let go of small habits. He stopped reading, stopped writing, stopped even looking closely at what he was eating. One day his granddaughter sent him a handwritten letter, a full page of squiggly, adorable lines, and he couldn't read it. He tucked the letter away and cried alone. I felt like I was being pushed out of her life just because of my eyes. So if today you can still see clearly, the print on a pill bottle, the amount on a utility bill, the title of a book, the face of an old friend, know that you are holding on to one of the greatest human privileges, the power to see, to understand, to stay connected. And if your vision is starting to blur, don't give up. There are still so many ways to keep your eyes bright longer. Eating right foods rich in lutein and vitamin A, getting regular eye checkups, keeping a daily reading habit so your eyes don't retire too early. Do you still enjoy reading? What kinds of books do you like best? Share your favorites. You might just inspire someone else to pick up the book they once put down. And next we move into ability number 7, something that seems physical, but touches every conversation, every connection, and every moment of joy. You can still hear clearly, understand quickly, and have flowing conversations. What did you say? Sorry, I didn't catch that. Can you say it again, sweetheart? These sound like harmless phrases, but for many older adults, they become a wall, a quiet barrier between them and the world. If today you can still hear clearly, still follow conversations with ease, still respond naturally in the flow of a chat, you are holding on to one of the most vital parts of growing older connection. Hearing isn't just about knowing what others are saying. It's about sharing emotions. It's about not being left out. It's about still being part of the stories being told, of the dinners, the laughter, the memories being made. When someone starts to lose their hearing, they often start speaking less. Not because they have nothing to say, but because they fear saying the wrong thing, responding off topic, or simply not being heard. So they go quiet. They withdraw from family dinners, and soon they feel invisible. Raymond used to love telling stories, but over time he couldn't hear the TV, couldn't keep up with his granddaughter's voice, stopped joining in conversations at the Veterans Club. One night he sat in silence for 2 full hours at the dinner table, just nodding and forcing a smile. Afterward he whispered, I heard 3 words, understood 1, and guessed the rest. I'm exhausted. So if today you can still hear the morning birds, a phone ringing, a child's giggle, a cashier's kind thank you, you're still able to connect with the world, and you still hold on to the joy of being alive in every laugh, every aha moment, every nod of true understanding. Remember, those who still hear can still add their voice to the world. That's a powerful form of existence, one no device can fully replace. Can you still hear clearly? Have you ever used a hearing aid? Do you have a loved one who's grown quiet due to hearing loss? Share your experience. Because every voice you share is a bell that helps awaken connection around us. And finally, we arrive at ability number 8. Something that doesn't lie in the body, doesn't rely on the senses. It lives deep in the soul. Your curiosity, your optimism, your will to keep living with meaning. Ability. Trigger weight, you are still curious, hopeful, and eager to live meaningfully. You still ask, why do leaves change colors in fall? You ask your grandchild, what's TikTok anyway? You still want to try a new recipe, listen to an old song, or simply understand something you didn't know before. If you are still curious, you are still alive. Not just surviving, but living with an open heart, with a spirit that continues to bloom. Some people grow old and slowly shut down. They close their eyes not wanting to see new things. They close their mouth thinking nothing more is worth saying. They close their hearts believing there's nothing left to hope for. But others like you, even with gray hair, trembling hands, and long winters ahead, still carry a heart that leans forward. A heart that wants to understand, wants to love again, wants to plant just one more row of flowers, even if the frost is coming. Raymond once said something that left everyone quiet. I don't need to be young again. I just want to wake up each morning with something worth opening my eyes for. It might be a new book, a warm hug from your grandchild, the soft morning light peeking through the curtain, or simply that quiet feeling that you're not done living yet. Curiosity is a spiritual gift, one that time can't take away, as long as you choose to hold on to it. Optimism doesn't mean pretending everything's fine. It means choosing to believe that goodness still exists. If today you can still be curious about small things, laugh at a good story, feel sadness but do not sink into it, and still want to learn to love, to live a little more, then you're not just staying young at heart. You're holding on to the most beautiful part of aging a soul that's still wide awake. What are you still curious about? Is there something you're learning? A dream you've yet to chase? Share it, because your story might help someone else open their heart one more time. If you've made it this far and you can do 3, 5, or even all 8 of the things we've talked about today, you're not just living long, you're living well. You don't need to be famous. You don't need grand achievements. You don't need perfect muscles or flawless memory. You just need to each day walk with strength, remember with clarity, cook yourself a decent meal, manage your money and rise without help, read, hear, and speak with ease, and above all, still want to live and still be curious about life. Then please say this to yourself every morning: I am a rare gem. Not because I'm perfect, but because I'm still shining in the face of time. And now, as promised, here is the final secret I promise to share. There's no vitamin that can replace it. No exercise is stronger than it. No medicine is more powerful than this. Believe that you still matter. Growing old is not the end. It's the final chapter, and it might just be the most beautiful one yet. If you saw yourself in any of the abilities in this video, leave a comment below. And if you know someone who's doing their best each day, send them this video so they know life after 70 isn't just survival. It's how you inspire future generations through your strength, your grace, and your quiet resilience. Thank you for spending time with us at Senior Health Table. Please hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so we can keep creating meaningful, heartfelt, and useful content for you and the ones you love. With deepest gratitude, we'll see you in the next video. Take care and goodbye for now.